Welcome everyone to today's video. My name is Dimitar from the Ballade piano duo, and in today's video we're going to do something more advanced, or we're going to talk about a piece that's quite advanced. It's about the fourth ballade by Chopin. I've had students that played this piece, I've played the piece myself, and it is fascinating. We know that a lot of you are ambitious to play difficult pieces, and this is really the top of the top. Today we're going to start with the intro of the piece, which is perhaps the easiest part to play, and yet musically it is one of the most difficult parts, because how you start the piece is going to determine how the listener is going to listen to you. So let's begin. The first secret I'm going to tell you is how I think about this intro. So the intro is from bar 1 until bar 7 included. But what I do, the secret I was going to tell you, is how I divide these 7 bars. For me, the piece actually begins second half of bar 2. So for me, this is the intro of the intro. And for me here, the piece actually begins. So if you like this idea, you can apply it yourself when you're playing the piece, to think of this 1.5 bars as something out of this world, something unreal, something untouchable, something that just stays in the air and really you set your feet on the ground from here. So that's the first thing that I not recommend, because it's how I think about the piece. It's something that perhaps you might find inspiring, and so give it a shot. That helps me really build a structure over the introduction, and I can make this very clear to the audience when I'm playing the piece, and also for myself. It becomes much easier to phrase. Otherwise it becomes 7 bars of something very long, and at some point it can get dull, it can get too loud or too light and without character. So that's going to help you really build the structure. Second point is, have 2 different aspects of phrasing, 2 important things, 2 pillars that are going to help you play this introduction very well musically. One, check in the piece very carefully that you have 16th notes. After the first 3 8th notes, you start having 16th notes. And notice that one of these 16th notes, the 2nd, 4th, and 6th note, they're secondary notes, they're repetitive notes that you need to control and play softer than the 1st, 3rd, and 5th note. So louder, softer, louder, softer, louder, softer. So you don't want to play these 2 notes, these alternating notes back and forth. You don't want to play them with the same volume. You don't want to have this. You want to have this. So one is actually sort of an accompaniment, sort of feeling, and the other, the 1st, 3rd, 5th, 1st, 3rd, 5th, 1st, 3rd, 5th, we can name them like that. Those are going to be our main notes, this. So that's one of the aspects of phrasing that you need to think about. 16th notes, always the 2nd, 4th, 6th, 2nd, 4th, 6th, a little bit softer so you can create this light feeling. Second aspect or second pillar of your phrasing of this introduction would be, it's actually connected to the first, make sure that you create a line over the main notes. So instead of having we need to make that beautiful. And so we can create a very interesting line. It's up to you how you're going to do it. You can explore and experiment, but make sure that you have softer and louder notes. See, so I'm phrasing these main notes and I'm trying to create a line within the main notes. Now the difficulty is why I mentioned the two pillars, the 2 points, is that you need to, the combination becomes very, very difficult because you have the main note, but you need to control the accompanying note. And play without wrong notes like me. So that's the tricky part. So you will need to practice these two voices perhaps separately. That's for another video, of course, to discuss about the ways to practice that. But those things are going to help you enormously when you're phrasing. A little tip, never start the piece with an accent. Never do this. That's going to be very ugly because like I explained, these 1.5 bars, if you like the idea, are something out of this world. So it doesn't even exist yet, the piece. So you want and you don't want reality. You don't want that. At least I don't want. And then like I said, from bar 2.5 or second half of bar 2 we start here, and then we have a second motive, a repetitive kind of a confirmation. We want a confirmation that this is a beautiful world, a beautiful piece. For me, bar 6 now is sort of not really an echo, but sort of an echo, a little remembrance of the beautiful bar 5, and then bar 6. So that can create also a very long line if you don't play, because if I play bars 5 and 6 the same volume, it can be beautiful, but I personally like bar 6 to drop the color, to make the color a little bit different, a little bit more muffled if you want. And then one last little tip, perhaps I shouldn't give you all my secrets, but since we started already, let's finish with bar 6. Second half of bar 6 comes the end, after the echo I just mentioned. Now here, as soft as possible, but if possible, while you're playing as soft as possible, if possible, make a little wave, last kind of attempt to keep the attention of the listener. So you have bar 6, and then so you want something to happen second half of bar 6 until end of bar 7. That's interesting because for the first time the accompaniment, the secondary bit of the piece takes charge, takes a more important role, because until now we've been balancing, like we talked about, we've been balancing the melody. So the repetitive note didn't play a big role. But now in second half of bar 6 we have and then we have a ritenuto. And then we're going to start really with the story of... Before we close the video, one how-to practice, even though I said we will do that in another video. The way to accomplish good results and to teach your brain how to follow that line is to very simply isolate the melody with the left hand without the accompanying note. If you separate them like this, if you isolate them and play them together, you will start understanding how you're going to phrase the main note, and later, when you're practicing separately, of course, the repetitive notes to be a little softer, when you combine them, it will be a little easier to create a beautiful line. As always, like the video, even if you didn't, subscribe to the channel, even if you don't want to, and we will see you next week again.